Hi ladies, good morning, good morning. I hope you are doing well today. Hope you're having a good week. And as usual, whenever I go live, please let me know if you're here, because that's how I can tell that my live is working. So give me a heart, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know where you're watching from. And for everyone that is in the areas of the country that were affected by the ice, I hope your power is back on. And I hope that you're staying safe and warm. So yeah, let me know who's here. Again, give me a heart, a thumbs up. Today we are going to talk about how to stop over-empathizing with a partner or an ex. Okay, great. I see a like. Thank you. Okay, so I'm live. Everything is good. So let's get into it. Are you struggling to let go of a partner or an ex who you know is not good for you, but you're concerned about hurting them? So if this is you, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you are experiencing this. Okay. So, I get it. I have been there. And so we're going to go deep into this today. But before I do that, I want to introduce myself. So my name is Lindsay, in case you guys are new here, and I help amazing women release the subconscious blocks that are holding them back from finding real love. So today, I'm going to talk about how to stop over-empathizing with a partner or an ex. And when we're done, I'm going to leave some time for comments. So stay tuned to the end. You can ask your comments. I'm going to leave some space for that. And then I'm going to let you also know how to apply for my Living Free program. So you can release the subconscious blocks and emotional energies that are holding you back from creating a healthy, loving relationship. All right. So again, okay, I see some of you, yes, you can relate to this experience. So over-empathizing with a partner or an ex. This is one of the things that gets us into bad relationships and keeps us there. We stay with our partners because we love them, right? But when we realize that someone is not good for us, we sometimes stay because we're worried about their well-being, right? Give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments. Have you done this? Has this been you? I can say yes, this was me in the past, for sure, 100%. We don't want to hurt them. We feel like we'll destroy them if we leave the relationship. We don't think they'll be okay without us, right? So what do? How do we shift this? Yeah, Ashley says, oh yeah. So we have to remember that just like you're gonna be okay if you leave the relationship. I can promise you that. It's painful and it's difficult, but you will be okay. Just like you're going to be okay, they're going to be okay too. And I talked about this, in more depth in a video that I did a little while ago about guilt. We have to remember that they're going to be okay. And I see, Christina is saying, yeah, my ex is telling me this stress is ruining his health from me leaving. Yeah, they can even tell you that. They can pull on that guilt that you may have. Pull on your heartstrings. Say, hey, I'm not okay. And that can be a manipulation, right? So what we need to do here is, again, keep in mind that they're going to be okay. They may tell you they're not, but just like, you're going through a difficult time with them leaving, but you're still okay, they're going to be okay too. But what we want to do is we want to make the shift from over-empathizing with our partner or an ex, and we need to bring it back into balance by giving ourselves our own empathy. We need to take our own needs into account. So let me know if this is resonating with you, and let me explain a little bit more about how this works. So most of us, we're used to caring for others. We're used to over-giving, right? Especially if you consider yourself an empath. This is kind of how it works. We accommodate endlessly, very often to the detriment of ourselves. to the detriment of our own needs. And we think about staying in a relationship that's hurting us because we don't want to hurt someone else, right? But this is what has to change if we want to have healthy relationships. This is Boundaries 101. And boundaries is one of the biggest things that I talk about for how you break this cycle of bad and toxic relationships. So this is a boundary, okay? So here's the thing. When we initially start doing this, it's uncomfortable, right? And Elaine says, yeah, it sounds like me. Yeah, let me know, how many of you can relate to this? You give, you give, you give. You consider yourself a very loving, a very giving person. I was that to a T. That was me. You know, I consider myself a healer here. You know, I do energy healing work. This is what I do. I love to help. I love to give. I love to support. But, you know, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my story in a second here. But I was doing this to the detriment of myself. And it actually wasn't a good thing. But yeah, I'm gonna share more about that. So when we initially start doing this, when we start to stop over-empathizing with our partners, it's out of our comfort zone. Our comfort zone is giving, over-giving, over-empathizing. Our comfort zone is being in pain in order to not hurt someone or make them uncomfortable, right? So when we start saying no to that, when we start saying yes to our own needs and putting ourselves first, what happens is it's uncomfortable. Fear is gonna come up. And your job to break this pattern is to move through that fear, okay? There may even be some guilt that comes up. There may be some other emotional discomfort that comes up, okay? But your job is to just move through it, understand that these emotions are temporary, and it's what you kind of have to go through to get to the healthier place where your empathy is in balance, where you're not giving too much empathy to the detriment of yourself. So let me know if this is making sense so far, okay? I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this here, but again, let me know if this is resonating. It's all about bringing the empathy back into balance, giving your empathy to yourself. So you might be saying, okay, well, Lindsay, does this mean I have to stop caring about other people? No, this doesn't mean that. This doesn't mean you're suddenly going to shift and turn into this selfish person. Yeah, Teresa says, I feel guilty when I say no. Exactly. That's what's going to come up in the beginning. But I want you to remind yourselves that just because you feel that guilt coming up, it doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. This is your conditioning. And I'm going to go into that here in a minute. But this doesn't mean that you're not going to care about other people. What we're talking about here is bringing the empathy and caring into balance, okay? So caring for ourselves as much as we care for other people. That's where we want to be, ideally. We want to have a balance. So when a relationship is hurting us too much, it is a good thing to do to leave it, even if it's going to hurt someone else. Because we have to take our own needs into account, okay? So I want to bring spirituality into this because it's my other area of expertise. And it will make a little bit more sense when I talk about coming out of the conditioning. So spirituality and the spiritual journey at its core is coming out of your conditioning. It's breaking free. And that's actually the inspiration for my coaching program and the name of my company, Living Free. It's not only about breaking free from toxic relationships. It's breaking free from conditioning like over-giving, over-empathizing, that keeps us small, that keeps us accommodating when we don't want to, when we don't actually truly want to, having no boundaries, not speaking up for ourselves, and in a pattern of behavior that is not serving us, right? So when we're over-empathizing with our partners, that's our conditioning. That's how we were raised for many of us. We were raised to be concerned with everyone else over our own needs to the detriment of ourselves. And let me know if you have experienced this. This is especially true for women. Women are raised to be accommodating, to not take care of themselves first, okay? So this is our conditioning. And let me share a story with you guys, and then I'll bring this full circle. It will make sense. So my partner is a therapist, and we were doing a parts work exercise together. And if you don't know what parts work is, it's a way to get in touch with certain aspects of yourself for the purpose of healing, to find resolution. It's a good therapeutic modality. He was taking a course, and he was practicing on me. But what we found was a part of me that felt so guilty for not doing whatever people wanted me to do, right? Kind of like a people-pleasing part. That just wanted to give and give and give until I had nothing left. Let me know if you can relate. Again, give me a thumbs up, give me a heart. Let me know if this is something you have experienced too. Basically, this part of me wanted to sacrifice itself so that no one else would have to be uncomfortable or feel pain. Do you relate to this? I'm very curious. So what we found in this exercise, the most surprising part was that this was actually a self-destructive part, okay? This wasn't a loving part. This wasn't a part of me that wanted to help people or do good. This part was not helping me. But in my mind, I thought it was. I kind of prided myself. Oh, look, I'm this good person. I care so much about other people. Oh no. This was a part of me that wanted me to sacrifice myself to the point where I would be extremely damaged. I would have had no energy. I would have had no time. I would have been living in complete misery, essentially, just so that someone else wouldn't have to be uncomfortable. So I want this to sink in here for a minute. This was not a good part. This was a part that essentially was self-destructive. So again, this was not healthy in any way. This was not a part that I should have been proud of. This was a part that really just did not care for my well-being whatsoever. Self-sacrifice is never the place that we want to be operating from. So where the spiritual journey comes in here is once we recognize these behaviors, once we take them from the unconscious into our conscious awareness, our job is now to shift them, to do something different, to make healthier choices for ourselves, right? So again, where the hard part comes in is when we make a choice to do something different, to not over-concern ourselves with our ex's well-being, right? And end that relationship. Fear is going to come up, like I said before. There was a reason that we were over-empathizing with our exes and giving, not taking our needs into account. So in my case, what that part told me when we were doing this little parts work exercise was that it was terrified of rejection. That's why it was acting like it was. That's why it was so self-sacrificing, because it didn't want to be alone, and it believed that if it didn't do those things, it would be alone. Meaning me, I would be alone. Now, was it true that I was going to be alone if I didn't do those things? No, absolutely not. It wasn't. But that's what I believed, okay? That's the conditioning. That's what we want to break free from. And again, anytime we do that, there's going to be fear. It's inevitable. And that's the spiritual journey. That's where this all comes together here. And that's why people describe enlightened masters as completely freed, because they have freed themselves completely from that conditioning So they're free to act however they want without the fear of rejection. So we don't need to strive for enlightenment here, but I bring this up to put this all into perspective so that we can understand the real journey here and how this all fits together. This is deeply transforming work. When you break a pattern that's been going on for a long time in your life, it's huge. It is part of the spiritual journey. It's what it's all about, breaking free of conditioning. So when you decide to take that step, when you decide to stop being overly concerned with your partner or your ex and you start taking your own needs into account, there will be fear in the beginning. So I'm here to warn you of that. It's going to happen and it's not a bad thing. It will not last. The fear is always, always temporary. And what can help you guys is just to remember that fear, it's just an emotion, okay? No emotion will kill you. Now, I know it's very uncomfortable, it's very unpleasant to go through, but it's not going to kill you. It will tell you it will, and it will make you believe it will. It had me fooled many, many a times, but it won't, okay? I'm still here. I've been through a tremendous amount of fear, and I promise you guys it will not kill you. You will be fine. So you take those steps, you move through the fear until it doesn't come up anymore, and that's how you break this pattern and free yourself. And once you're free, once you've just moved through all that fear and you've become comfortable with saying no, then you're free. Then you've officially broken that pattern and you can take your power back, okay? It's huge. It's life-changing. So has this all made sense? I want to make sure that I have made sense here today. Let me know. And again, I'm going to save some room for questions at the end, but let me know if this has made sense so far. So what also helps is to release the subconscious blocks that you may have that are preventing you from shifting the focus of your empathy back onto yourself, to valuing your own needs, to loving yourself. Okay, Ashley, yes, this definitely makes so much sense. Good, okay. Because sometimes it makes sense in my head, but I want to make sure it's making sense to you guys. Perfect. Okay, so Margaret, I'm going to get to your question in a bit. So you may have a subconscious part, like I did, that wants you to self-sacrifice until it drives you into the ground, okay? So these blocks and emotional energies are what we need to address if we want to break these unhealthy relationship patterns. And that's what this is. Over-empathizing with a partner is not something that we should think is a good thing. It's an unhealthy pattern, for sure. So this is the work that I do in my Living Free program. We dive deep into your subconscious and we release everything that's been holding you back from finding real love and keeping you stuck in this cycle with having way too much empathy for your ex, okay? So I only have a limited number of slots available each month, so if you are interested in this, comment Living Free. If you think you might have some subconscious blocks that you want to address so you can free yourself from this pattern of over-empathizing, take your life back and find real love, okay? So full disclosure here, this is not a free program. It's a highly intensive, one-on-one, life-changing experience with me. And you know, I talk about this all the time because we need support to do this deep healing work. We can't do it on our own. I would not be here talking to you guys today if I didn't get support to help shift my patterns, to help release all of this stuff. We need support here. So comment Living Free and I'll reach out to you, or book a free call. I actually put the link to my calendar in the description here, so you can do it that way too. Oh, and before I get into the questions, which I'm gonna do here in a second, I'm actually thinking about changing the name of the group from Freedom from Toxic Relationships to Finding Real Love. Because I want the focus here to be on creating healthy relationships, not just breaking you free of toxic relationships, because that's just one part of this coming full circle here. So let me know what you guys think of the name, and I'm curious if you have an idea for a name for the group that has to do with finding real love, let me know. Put it in the comments. I will definitely take it into consideration. Okay, so Q&A. So let me go through some questions here. So Margaret says, what if a partner has struggled but has a lot of self-awareness, is accountable, and then tries to make changes? So Margaret, is this person attempting to make changes and it's not happening, or are they actually making the changes? That's what I would need to know here. So I'm just going to read the comments here. Robin says, I tell myself I have to go through the fear. I can't go over it or under it. Yes, that's what this is. And again, like, I can't even tell you guys how much fear I have gone through in the course of my healing process and breaking these patterns. It's very uncomfortable. It's brutal at times, but I always made it through it, you know? And there's things that we can do, like I talked about, releasing these blocks that do make it easier and it makes it faster. But yeah, the fear will not kill you, and it's what will help you to break free. And I can tell you from personal experience, when you are free, it feels amazing. I feel, you know, like if I look back at my life coming from where I was, I feel like a completely different person now. I've taken my power back in the way that I was giving so much empathy to other people. I've taken that back, and I'm very empathetic now, but I make sure that at the same time I'm giving it to myself. And the path that got me there was through fear. Yeah. But again, it doesn't last forever. It's like, you know, you take a step to say no to an ex, and then the fear comes up. Sometimes it could be for a few minutes, a couple hours, sometimes it could even last a couple days, and then it's done, right? And then you've broken a pattern, and then you're free. And you may have to do this a couple times until the fear doesn't come up anymore, but that's what it looks like. So I'm glad that you're coming to that conclusion. Okay, so any more questions here? Oh, good. Ashley, you like the name change. Beautiful. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I want to focus on what you can look forward to once you leave a toxic relationship. Awesome. Some of both. So what is your question here, Margaret? If you should stay with this person or if you should leave? I'm not clear on what the question is. But, you know, what I can tell you is, if that is the question, if you're not getting your basic needs met, then, so the question, okay. So what I would ask yourself, Margaret, is, am I getting my basic needs met? Is this, I don't know, again, I don't know the details of your situation, but is this person causing you a lot of pain, you know, bringing a lot of stress into your life, and they're trying to change, and they're changing some things, but it's not enough? You know, if that's the case, I would say, yeah, it probably sounds like the right thing to do would be to leave the relationship. Again, it very much depends on the specific circumstances of what's going on, but if someone can change some things, but not everything that you need, if it were me, I would say it's still not enough. Because what you can find out there are people who can change all the things that you need to be different, or that don't even need to change anything, that are already showing up in the place that you need them to be, with the healthy behaviors that are already there. So, you know, if you could give me a little more detail, that would be helpful, but that's the answer to my question there. Okay, so any other questions here before I end this live today? Okay, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to end the live, and thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week. All right, stay safe. Bye-bye.